My void will consume you, if you ask nicely.
Your will is no longer your own.
Stay away from the voodoo. Toi!
You have led the Horde to a place without honor.
Your petty quarrels only make me stronger.
Our world needs us, champion.
You got it over your head.
We cannot let the world fall to darkness.
Already lost.
Put your faith in the light, and all is possible.
Is it truly righteousness that drives you? I wonder.
It would seem you have guests.
They are coming for you. This is the Whispers of War.
Hello everyone and welcome to Whispers of War, show number 55. I'm your host Sil, and let's just jump into how was my week in Warcraft. And let's start with some classic WoW. I was going to say let's do it chronologically, but is classic WoW old WoW or is it new WoW? That's something to think about. It's a bit like the chicken and the egg, what came first. So I'll let you ponder about that, but let's just start with classic WoW. What have I been doing? Not enough. Just to really say it, not enough. The grind is real, I have to say that. My druid is now 27, almost level 28. I am slowly pushing towards 40 because I want that travel form. Not that I have this magical feeling that once I have my travel form, life all of a sudden is going to be so much easier questing, which it's not going to be, but you know what? That's what I'm going to tell myself. I like lying to myself on multiple things, so why not for the travel form? So questing is actually not too bad. I did a bit of grinding in between because I do feel you have to do that to well, I guess with classic it's difficult sometimes to find the right quest mobs. PvP is a real thing, so when you're getting camped you know that that's not going to end anytime soon. And sometimes it just pays off to grind just a little bit, because that's actually the point that I can watch Netflix and not really focus on the mobs that I'm pulling, because they're always a little bit lower than me, and I think bear and cat form is quite OP in all fairness, or it could just be because I'm really used to playing it from back in the day, so maybe that's it, I don't know. But yeah, I just noticed that that's the moment that I can actually just watch Netflix, grind, and before I know it, bam, I've cranked out a level. And I've made some gold in the process as well. And I actually got a 10-slot bag as well from a mob. Again, where the frick do these things hide it? I have no idea, but that 10-slot bag did come in handy. Because, you get a lot of vendor trash, and I'm now on about 10 gold. I have no idea where I should be around this level, but I guess 10 gold is better than nothing. I'm not good at playing the auction house at all. I think also everyone is good at the auction house at the moment, or at least better than they were back in the day. So it doesn't pay off at all putting anything on the auction house from my point of view, unless you're really playing that game. I see people putting things up for a few copper as a bid, and then their buyout is actually reasonably alright, but they only put like the bid really low so that will be on the first page of the auction house. However, there are a lot of really clever people who see that and like, you know what, I'm going to bid because I get this item a lot cheaper and then I'll just resell it later on. I had to stop myself from putting stuff on there because I saw that people were just doing that, and I thought I'd much rather just vendor it than make so much less profit on it. So I just stopped that, and I thought I will do that in time maybe, but in the meantime I'm just sticking to grinding and just, selling all the trash, and if I get a green now and again I might either disenchant it and sell those mats or just vendor it. I'll see. Anyhow, so that's the druid. I'm on 27 now, almost 28. I actually had a really nice encounter with Alliance. I know that a lot of people complain about Alliance on our server, which is Zandalar, but I actually have experienced really nice people. I don't know, maybe it's a druid code or something, but I had a druid who ran up to me and I thought, okay, this is it, we're going to get ganked now. Because my health was a bit low, but he actually she ran up to just skin the mob I was looting. And I thought, alright, I'll just quickly prowl and just go away. But the druid was, you know, a lot higher than me and constantly saw me, so I thought, well, okay, well, if you want to kill me, just go ahead. And then he pointed at the mob ahead of me and pointed, and I went like, okay, so I'll just go and kill that, looted it, and then he or she started skinning. And I thought, oh, okay, and I got the emote, this person loves my character, hugs, and I thought, oh, that's really sweet. And then I thought, yeah, fuck it, let's just do it like this. So, yeah, we actually, like, I don't know, I hit the mobs, and because I was a bit lower and he was really high, he just, with 2 swipes, got it down, and I was looting it, got my quest items, and then he was skinning it. And it really worked until he got killed by a horde, and I was like, no, don't, this is a nice person, but no, they didn't want to listen. I think, you know, if it's red, it's dead to these people. But a lot of other hordes in the meantime came back. When this druid rezzed, and everyone was emoting to each other really nicely, and I actually had a lot of fun. So I think I should have written the name down, but I think it was Ezra or Ezray, a night elf druid on Zandalar. If you're there, this was McMonkeys. I know it's such an RP name, isn't it? I really had fun. So yeah, that was really fun. Other than that, I know that some people have asked me, why have you not rolled why am I using a non-RP name on an RP realm? Right, so basically, for the purposes of the guild, I wanted people to know what my username was, because this is the handle I go with on almost anything on Twitter, Instagram, so I thought, let's just use this handle. But my TRP, which I use, doesn't have that name because you can remove it. So people who have TRP and click on you won't see that name, they will see something else. So that's really it. I was also made sure that when you are playing on an RP server, this is also like a tip, I guess, you can have different names that aren't really following the RP code, but just make sure it's not with, you know, naughty body parts or anything sexual, basically. Then you're okay. So yeah, I think if you're not going with any of the genitalia names, you're generally all right on most of the RP realms. Again, you know, if I would have played it completely to RP, I would not have picked this name. But so be it. This was for different purposes. I don't really know if I'm actually going to RP with this druid, to be fair, even though the emoting was kind of funny. Yeah, so we'll see, and who knows, I might be able to swing it into an RP name. I don't know, we'll see in due time. Like I said, my mage is my proper RP character, so meh, we'll see. I do feel a little bit bad about it, I'll have to admit. For a diehard RPer, I do feel bad. So that was a little bit about Classic. I also played on my Night Elf Hunter. I stumbled upon random RP on that server as well, which was really nice. It was just people talking and you know, holding a meeting, which was, I guess, really good. But yeah, I'm not really invested in that character yet. For me, it's purely nostalgia by jumping around in Teldrassil or Teldrassil or however you want to call it, that old tree. That's really just it for me. So yeah, I'm really enjoying Classic. Purely because I forgot so many old quests, and I'm often like, oh yeah, I remember this. I think this was here, and where was that? So that is really fun to just do that again. And I do hope that I can raid maybe again in the future, but it's not really a main priority. Again, I would like to get really into RP with my Alliance character, just for old time's sake. I don't think I would be too invested for the Horde to RP. It depends a little bit what I can find, but so far. So that's my classic experience this week. Now let's go to BFA, or retail, or mainstream, or whatever you want to call it, current WoW. And it's been all about the RP. You know, when you start to grind for levels in Classic, I don't really want to do it again in BFA, even though I know it will be so much easier, because it's like, you know, it's like giving a full fat McDonald's meal to someone who's on a diet, who's been on a diet, and go like, okay, well, you can have your McDonald's now, and then, oh, now you're back on your diet. It's hard, guys. I don't want to do that to myself. I don't want to go like, oh yeah, look at these levels, just cranking it out, and then, oh yeah, let's go back to Classic and suffer. I don't want to do that. So I'm leaving the leveling for what it is. But I've been creating some more background stories for some of my characters. Just thinking about what I want to do with them, their stories, what sort of personalities they have. And I will talk a little bit about the process of creating your character after the interview that I'll have in this show, just to get you a little bit into the RP. And yeah, I encountered a lot of random RP. I was mostly on my druid in the Alliance for this. So basically what I do is I normally fly over Stormwind a little bit just to see if I see gatherings, and you know, Cathedral Square is always good for that. You get some really random RP, but it's fine. And there was actually a group of Dark Iron there, and someone had lost their dog. And so we were all just bystanders, and we started to look for the dog, which we had to do on foot. But that's also one of those things that, because you're basically walking around Stormwind trying to find a dog, and I'm using quotation marks here, you get the chance to actually talk to all the other characters and just, you know, talk about daily life, really, which was really, really just nice. It was a really easy walk-up RP, and it was just easygoing, and yeah, very friendly. And we went through all the little nooks and crannies where the dog could be in the end. I don't think we found it, because I had to go at a certain point. But yeah, I hope that dog got found. I'm sure that they pulled out, you know, how you want to do that. Sometimes you can pull out like a pet or something, or if you're a hunter, you can do that. Yeah, and we had discussions about all the allied races joining the Alliance, and how we are perceiving some of them now, and that is getting a lot busier in Stormwind. So yeah, that was really interesting. So as you can see, my BFA experience really at the moment is just RP and character creation, and I have to say I do enjoy the graphics so much in game. So yeah, that's my experience. Before I go into the interview, let's do a little bit of World of Warcraft news. So I'm only giving you the two things that really piqued my interest. Again, if you want to go to proper WoW news, go to something like The Instance, I guess, or any other podcast out there, or just, you know, watch Taliesin and Evital's YouTube video, because they have all the news in there. This is just what I found interesting. So Brewfest is here. Brewfest is here from September 20th until October 6th. You can get those mounts now if you want to. The Kodo and the Ram. I think they drop from Core and Dire Brew, don't they? I got those a very long time ago. I was very lucky that I got them in the same day. Don't know how. I don't, you know, the Loft Rocket I will never get, but that I did get. So you can try it if you don't have either. Go and kill Core and Dire Brew. I don't know if the trinkets have actually been updated, or if they're still like lower levels, because I remember doing it maybe last year or the year before, and the trinkets weren't updated to the current eye level. So I have no idea. I might just go into it just to see what it's like. And it might be good to practice a little bit of healing on my druid. I think I might actually go healer again, even though I hate it. So that's that. There is a new transmog set that you can get, several pets that you can always get. I really like the Wolpertinger. That was one of the first pets I really, really wanted. And if you want to find out where it is, if you've never heard of this, well, I'm sure you have, then just go to Ironforge. It's the entrance there for Alliance, and Orgrimmar entrance for Horde. You also get like a new event, Brewfest Chowdown, where you have to eat loads of sausages. I'm sure that the memes are out there now about sausage fests and everything like that, so yeah. I do like Oktoberfest, but for me it's just, you know, before Hallows ends. That's the real holiday that I'm looking forward to, and I'm well, let's face it, it is the superior holiday of the year. So let's jump into the other bit of the news, which is that patch 8.2.5 is going live on September 25th. And considering when the show comes out, that is in 2 days. We'll get new Goblin and Worgen models. Now my prediction is that we'll see a lot more of those models in-game all of a sudden. I think some people might actually race change, or I think some people might dust off their characters and go, you know what, you've received some love, so I'm going to play you again. I foresee a lot of new and interesting RP. And when I say interesting, I don't mean that kind of RP. I hope not. But it could be really cool. So yeah, I think I need to jump into that. Also, there will be a new mount for the Alliance, which is the Honeyback Harvester, which is the B mount, which we all saw in the beginning of when this expansion got announced. We finally get it now. I'm sure we have to grind rep and do lots of quests and all sorts before we get this mount. It can never be just easy. But yeah, I think I might actually try it. I think it's a cute mouse. And, you know, we need to save the bees. So that will be a nice representation. We'll also get the conclusion of the war campaign. Now, I find that really interesting that it's a conclusion of the war campaign. Does that mean that with any further patches for for this expansion pack for BFA, we're not getting anything regarding the war campaign? Is that something that will end? Will it be extended, or do we get a new chapter in a new expansion? I don't know. I don't know what to think about this. I actually quite like the war campaign because I felt like I was, you know, having another story and you were working towards something. I know a lot of people hate it, but I'm a fan of the war campaign. I like seeing both sides as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see where this story ends. I think it is probably what a lot of people predict, so if you don't want to hear this, but I think it's probably this prediction that we are going to confront Sylvana. She's not there, and then we have no fucking clue where she is. Something like that. I think that's going to be it. My cat just really startled me. She's such a creeper. All of a sudden she climbed on top of my footstool, and I feel these 2 legs on my leg. She's creepy. I have a really creepy cat, but that's in between. So we get that. Then there are some other little things. We get party sync, so you can party up and quest with friends. So everyone in your party becomes aligned to the same quest state and phase. I guess that's good, so you don't have to worry about the layering and the phasing stuff. Levels will be scaled down to the cap of the expansion content your lowest level party member qualifies for. So for instance, I'm questing with someone who's level 21, then because that is vanilla content, I'm a 120, I will scale down to level 60. Another example is the lowest level is 83, then anyone who's higher than that would scale down to level 90 if they're over 90. I guess that's how it works. Not a bad thing, but people can still really carry your ass through certain things. I guess that works, but if it's a lot of fun, if someone still destroys everything, I don't know. WoW 15th anniversary event. Can we just... Oh my god, I want that so much. So in November, when all the great things happen, BlizzCon, the anniversary, my birthday... I think, you know, it's going to be so much fun just seeing what we can do. So we're getting an anniversary gift, which contains a little Nefarian pet. And we get increased XP and reputation. So for those of you who have not yet unlocked reputation, unlocked the allied races because of the reputation, or you want to really push for certain levels to get like heritage gear or anything like that, maybe this should be that point that once you have that, you can do it all. Just, you know, shove classic to the side for a little bit and just start doing this. I know that I will be doing this because I did grind a lot of the reputation, but I never really reached exalted with certain ones. If I didn't have to, I didn't do it, and I think I might actually do it now. you know, it doesn't hurt. It really doesn't hurt, if only for my own EP. So with the 15th anniversary, we're also getting a new raid, which is called Memories of Azeroth. You need to have an item level of at least 380, so make sure that you have one toon that has some Benthic gear, or just, you know, try to gear up a little bit, otherwise you cannot do this raid. And you need to clear all 3 wings before you get a Deathwing mount. Well, I say Deathwing mount, but it's based on Deathwing. So yeah, I'm really just looking forward to the whole experience of that. That's going to be a lot of fun. And of course, we're getting Alterac Valley of Old, which is basically old Alterac Valley. And I wonder if that's going to be the one that takes forever. So yeah, that will be interesting. You need to complete 2 achievements to have a chance to get 2 new mounts, which is a Ram and a Frostwolf, because of course Alterac Valley. Yeah, I'm just looking forward to all of this. I think we are heading towards a really great time when it comes to Warcraft and Blizzard, and I'm really now looking forward to BlizzCon. I think I will actually get the BlizzCon ticket this year. One, I'm not here because birthday, so I have to do stuff. And I don't know, I just feel like this year is actually going to be more interesting now that Classic has been released, that we're getting the 15th anniversary coming up. Yeah, I don't know. I feel really good about it. I hope my dreams won't get crushed. So that's really it. I will leave you with my rambling now, and you can actually listen to another person, which I think is much better. I will leave you with the interview that I had with the lovely Stormie, and we talk about how people perceive older gamers and things like that. And yeah, I will be back after the interview, so enjoy. And with me today, I'm being joined by a fellow UKer, even though I'm not British. I think people know that now. By now you can hear it with the dodgy accent. But someone else who's in the UK, so yay for my time zone finally lining up with someone. Welcome, Stormie.
Hi, nice
Hi,
to be here.
How are you? I know that I think you're suffering from sort of like the same thing as I am.
Yeah, conflu. Same preach con.
Yeah, I don't have much of a conflu, but I do have somewhat of a flu. But you had a good time then, I hope.
I had an amazing time. 4 days with fellow nerds where you could be yourself. It was bliss.
That's really nice. And for those who are not in the know, this was of course PreachCon.
Yes.
By the lovely Preach Gaming. So I'm happy to hear that you had a good time. I heard that Taliesin had a good time as well. So
yeah,
that's good.
Drunk Me apologized for Drunk Me last year.
Hey, and then next year, that's another reason to go back again, isn't it?
Yeah, because I'll need to apologize again. So it's fine. Avatar looked at me as if I was this weird woman. Yeah, sorry, love.
Exactly. See, but I like it. This is how the English do it. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. So let's just jump into the interview. For people who, don't know you, like me, for instance, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Who is Stormie?
Well, in real life, I'm a 50-year-old woman.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm older than most people who play. Mum of 2, was a secondary school teacher for 20 years and is now a carer. In game, I'm a little goblin who heals people and shouts at them when they stand in stuff. So that's fun.
Okay, that's good. So I'm curious, because you said, goblin, but are you pure horde?
Well, I like to say I am pure horde, but I may have a gnome priest as well.
Oh!
I have a few. Yeah, she's hidden away on a different realm. I was Alliance to start off with, but then when Goblins came out in Cataclysm, I sort of wanted to play one.
Yeah.
Because in real life, I'm like nearly 5'10". I'm always the tall person everywhere I go. So I like being the little person in game. I know. And my son and I, I think he was about 10 at the time, said, let's go and pretend to be goblins somewhere. So we went off and became goblins. And that's how we became Horde. And I stayed Horde. my son has finally gone back to the Alliance, which I'm quite embarrassed to say. I know, I can't disown him now. He's 18 and about 6'8", so it's like,
That's hard fighting, isn't it?
it is. I could win, but I'd have to make him cry, and that's just not fair.
Fair enough. So how did it start for you? How did you get into World of Warcraft?
Well, my husband started playing, and he had so much fun. I thought, typical wife, can't let him have fun all by himself. So I started playing, and then he stopped, and I carried on, and I started raiding and doing exciting things, and he hates it. He's like, my wife is so much better at this than I am. Yeah. So he's just finally resubscribed. He's trying to get to 120, and I'm just like,
so he couldn't stop. He is it because he needs to beat you, or?
No, I think it's just because I made him come to PreachCon for one night. Come to the party, and he rocked up, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's Dad," because they call me Mom.
Oh.
So yeah, I'm Mum to 200 nerds, and they called him Dad, and he thought, "Well, maybe I should play again." So he started playing again now.
Oh, that's nice.
Very sweet. It is. It's lovely.
I'm going to presume he's also on the Horde.
No, he's Filthy Alliance.
Is he?
Yeah, I know. He's stayed Alliance, and he's just there. He has a druid that's been a healer and a tank, and he's now feral. So he's not doing very well, but he has a nice time.
And I think that's the most important thing in game, isn't it? As long as some people enjoy being the best at what they are, and other people are just enjoying playing the game. And
Yeah.
I think as long as you're enjoying yourself in what way, then you're doing something right.
As long as you're having fun and nobody's getting hurt, then where's the problem?
Exactly what I feel. Okay, so Stormie, we are now jumping into the topic that you picked. I'm always a little bit mean with the topic for the guest, because in the sense of that I just I throw the question out there, or the topic, and then I let you stand on your soapbox just to talk about it, and I will throw in questions in between when I hear good things like, oh, I can ask about that. So you wanted to talk about the experiences as an older gamer playing World of Warcraft, and how other people respond towards that. So why this topic?
Well, I think because quite often, especially being an older woman, you get sidelined for being female, and then you get sidelined for being older as well. And most of the people I play with are my children's age. So they have that thing of like, well, you're old, therefore you can't play.
Okay.
And your reactions aren't good enough, or you're just generally bad at computers and IT and everything. Or I just treat them like I do my own children. So if they get too rude or too nasty, I just shout at them, and they just go, "Sorry, Mum." And I think it's, being a secondary school teacher, most of the British kids can spot that way of being spoken at. Because we've all got teachers that we used to look up to, and who, if they told us off, then we'd be really hurt and upset because we'd disappoint them. I do that voice, but I'm disappointed in you voice very well. And they tend to behave then. But at situations like PreachCon or other community events that I've been to, I get looked at a bit funny for 5 minutes, and then people like me because I'm safe. Especially for other women going to these events, when they're surrounded by nerds who, some of them don't have the best social skills.
Yeah.
They can look to me, people can look to me and think, I'll go and sit with her because whatever happens, I'll be looked after.
That's really nice, though. That is really nice.
Yeah.
Have you proven them wrong many a times that you do still have the reaction that you need to have for the game?
I would love to lie and say yes. I play a holy priest. So,
Okay.
You know, I am never going to be in the top, you know.
Mm-hmm.
What he'd want to do, oh, let's do a 20. Yeah, I'm never going to be there. I'm never going to be there. Am I good enough? Yes. I have I'm in a HC raiding guild, and I'm always doing really good at DPS for a holy priest. So I do well. I do good enough, and that's nice.
Okay. Well, sometimes that's enough, isn't it? As long as you don't stand in the fire and stuff, then I guess it's all fine.
You can't heal stupid.
Fine.
I think people need to learn that.
Yeah, and considering you're the healer, you know, it's also probably a good thing that they don't talk back too much.
Yeah. Some people do die because of that. But, you know, have you ever found when you're in a group and they go, get on comms because we need to do this, you know, you're pugging a group and you speak and you can hear all the men in the group going, it's a woman.
I've had it once or twice, and I think the weirdest thing was once when someone recognized my voice from the podcast. That was the weirdest thing, and I was like, oh crap, now I really need to perform because that's not a good thing.
The downside to being famous, hey?
Yeah, and I don't even see it like that because I don't feel like, you know, I'm nowhere near a level as like Preach or the guys from the Instance or anything like that. Yeah. So I'm just like, I'm just this European girl trying to do a podcast now and again. So,
oops, I'd better be good.
Yeah, but no, I've experienced that. Do you get that reaction a lot?
No, because I don't. If I'm pugging.
Mm-hmm.
I try not to speak. I try not to have to speak, which I think in some ways is a bit sad, but it's an easy option not to speak. If you don't have to, then you don't. And in, you know, bosses like Mecha Talk, where there's times where you have to talk, it's good that I am a healer, because everyone will go, healers stay out. If possible, healers don't need to do this mechanic, you know, we'll get the DPS in to have to say colours or whatever. And that I find very useful, because being older as well, I find that I don't put up with the rubbish that some of the other women do, because they're generally nicer than I am. So they all just go, oh yeah, that's really funny that you insulted me for being female. Whereas I'd like slap them down and say, no mate, you're out, bog off. You know, I don't put up with that. Whereas I think a lot of the younger women do put up with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you might be right with that. I think a lot of, I don't know if I'm saying it correct, but a lot of the younger generation, just because of keeping the peace, they don't want to go into an argument. And of course I've seen some other girls who are younger than me, for instance, who are very, you know, quick and immediately slap that down, but it's rare that I see it happen, unless it's someone who is over in their near their 40s. Then it gets a bit different. But yes, that is a very observant point. Yeah.
And do you find you get flirted with weirdly?
I think because I play female characters anyway, you get it. I think as soon as you hear if they have a hunch that you actually are female, it doesn't matter what age you are, you will get it. I think they will just try it out. Some of them not, and I'm not going to generalize men, because I know plenty of men who don't do all of that. But there are some who think, oh, I can always try it now, which is a bit odd to me, because you have no, you know, I could say I'm a girl, but before you know it, I'm like, I don't know, an 80-year-old man playing this game. I don't know.
That's one good thing about playing goblins. I play a female goblin, nobody flirts with her, it's great.
Oh, they might start after the update to the faces, you know, in 8.55, you might.
Some weirdos. I've had people on Twitch streams who when I've been with friends doing dungeons or whatever, and they're streaming, and it's only like small streams, so like 10, 20 people, and they hear my voice, so they start flirting with me. Yeah, I've had people send their spreadsheets to me, you know, and that's lovely and romantic. That I really fancy you. I heard your voice. Here's my spreadsheet. It's like, really.
What was in the spreadsheet, if I may ask?
It was all like characters, and what it was Legion. So it was what artifact power level they were on, and, you know, and yeah, it was really romantic. I'm like, thanks. What do you say? Yeah, here's my Google document spreadsheet. Thank you.
Really awkward. That's so weird.
It is.
Yeah, I've not heard of that romancing thing. Maybe I need to talk to my boyfriend or something. Maybe he's doing something wrong. I don't know, but yeah, that's an interesting one.
It took me half an hour to realise maybe he was flirting with me, because I don't expect anyone to flirt. You know, I've been married 25 years. You know, no one flirts with me. I actually messaged a mate of mine saying, "Is this guy flirting with me?" And she went, "Yes." Oh, okay. And he sent me the spreadsheet, and I'm like, now I've spotted it. You are flirting with me, aren't you? So, yeah. How many times can I mention my age, the age of my children, before people go, maybe I won't flirt with her?
I've heard other women say that, and sometimes there's just no stopping people when they're determined to get what they want, basically.
Oh, babe, I've got a face for radio, you know. They don't want anything from me.
But how does your husband respond to all of that?
Oh, he finds it hilarious. He thinks it's really funny. So, again, go back to the marriage for 25 years. He thinks it's really funny. Yeah. I was sent a certain type of picture once, and that wasn't through WoW.
Okay.
I was sent a certain type of picture once, and the first thing I did was go, "Ew, look at this," and showed it to my husband, and then I showed it to my daughter, who was 21. So, you know, it was a reasonable age to show my daughter.
Yeah.
She's like, "That's really nicely taken. That's a professional shot."
That's at a nice angle.
Really? How does she know these things? And she said, "I'm not telling you that." Oh, okay. No.
Oh, yeah. No, I think those pictures, I think you can't be a girl on the internet without having once received a picture of that.
Well, I'm glad mine was a professional shot.
I know. I think you should feel really honored about that. Yeah, it makes for awkward things, because, you know, like I always say, I find it baffling how people, as soon as they hear a female voice, on the internet, that people start to do weird things that they would never really do in real life. I mean, it's not like someone would, at least not many people would expose themselves to random girls in the street, you know. I guess we have strickers now and again, but
yeah, you would hope not.
No, it's a little bit odd. But yeah, that's really it. How does your surrounding react to the fact that you're gaming? Maybe like friends and family who are around the same age. How do they respond?
Oh, work have no idea what I do. They have absolutely no idea. I work with women, and one of them went, "So, are you a gamer?" And I went, "Yes." And she went, "Oh, I play Candy Crush. Am I a gamer?" And I'm like, "Yes, love." And she's like, "Oh, that's great." Because I thought I can't explain it. And then when I said I'm putting in time to go to Manchester to PreachCon, to get drunk with 250 nerds for 4 days. So like, "Oh, that sounds great. Can I come?" I just thought, no, because this is where I can go and be nerdy and discuss the pros and cons of holy priests versus disc priests without anybody batting an eyelid. You know, they don't understand it. But on the other hand, my boss now doesn't phone me during raid time.
That's good.
Yes, because she used to phone me up every raid night and it'd be like, Laura, I'm raiding, go away. Just like, what are you doing? So I just would have the phone next to my headset. So she'd be listening to what was going on in raid, and every now and then piping up going, oh, that doesn't sound very good. So all the boys shouting words, move your backside out of that. Whatever. So she thought it was great. So now I just don't answer the phone to her because she just loves it too much. She loves being involved.
Well, who knows? Maybe you'll get her to play.
Oh God, no! Candy Crush is a limit.
It is. I find it funny too. Because you see so many people of. I mean, I think your and my generation is not even that far off from each other. But if I look at the younger generation, they seem so surprised that people our age still game. And I'm like, seriously, I started on an Atari, you know, don't tell me about gaming and things like that. But it seems like, no, you're at a certain age, there's such a stigma on it that you shouldn't, you know, that life should be taken serious, and gaming doesn't seem to fall underneath that. Have you ever had people who reacted negatively about the fact that you're gaming?
Yes, I've had, not really negatively, not so negative that I felt uncomfortable because, you know, strong, independent woman, I could turn around and tell you to go away, you know, and which is better. You know, I could be going down the pub every night, drinking a bottle of wine or watching EastEnders, and no, thanks. I prefer to sit with my headset on, chatting to my mates, wiping to the same boss all night. You know, it's what you fancy, isn't it? It's what you like doing. And playing WoW is enjoyable to me, even with BFA. You know, I enjoy it. I enjoy chatting to my mates. You know, I went to our guild leader's wedding last year.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, first time I'd met any of them in real life. And that was really nice. And none of them looked at me weird for being an old lady, because they knew I was an old lady, you know, and that was lovely. And I'm going to be in my nursing home with Alzheimer's playing WoW. And, you know, why wouldn't I?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there is this, what did I call her? I think it's the lady who's in her 70s who's still playing Skyrim.
Yeah.
And
who streams, and she's all
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, why not? You know, why do you have to? I mean, I've never picked up a crochet thing in my life. Why should I start crocheting just because you reach a certain age? Not that I have that perceived age just yet, but I don't understand that why at a certain age you have to do certain things. It's just, that's beyond me. I thought we're in 2019. I thought we are beyond that now, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think, you know, I'm all for seeing basically everyone game, because the more generations game, the more I feel there is an understanding for gamers and how raiding works and everything. Because I remember back in my day, I had to explain to my mother, no, I'm raiding now. I cannot put it on hold.
Yeah, can't pause the game.
Yeah, there's no pause button. I mean, that doesn't happen. I can't save it. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's sad. One of the things that I've noticed is that a lot of our boys who are playing computer games, there is a high incidence of mental health issues. And suicide is the main cause of death for boys between 16 and 45 in Western countries. And how many of these boys are playing computer games, and how many of them are being helped by playing computer games and having the support and the friends and the, you know, what can they do? to help them when they are playing. You see what I'm trying to say? They've got this support network out there, and as a mum to a teenage boy, he's 18, I am more than happy for him to be playing computer games than I would be him going out into town every night getting drunk or taking drugs or doing the things that other, I've seen teenage boys do or young men do, which would I prefer? And as a parent, I prefer him playing computer games.
Yeah, absolutely.
Than doing other things. And I think as parents, we have to be supportive. Parents to young children, I think we have to be around whilst they're playing computer games, because there are nutters out there. But I think we have to be there for them and help them and support them with it.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think that's a good point to make. Okay, Stormie, is there anything else that you would want to say about what it's like to play as an older gamer? And I use quotation marks here with older gamer, and how people respond to an older gamer playing, or do you want to start jumping into BFA?
I think there's a lot more of us out there. When did Classic get released? When did the initial game first get released? That's a long time ago now.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of us mid-30s and upwards. We are the secret. Maybe not majority, but we are out there.
I think there's a large chunk of people above 35 who are playing this. Yeah. More than I think people will realize.
Yes.
Because we were all once in our 20s, so...
Oh, and I'd hate to be there again.
Yeah, I know. All right, so let's go into BFA then. So my next question for you is, what are you most impressed with, and what are you least impressed with when it comes to BFA?
I like raiding.
Okay.
I'm having fun with that, and yes, it is probably because I'm in a guild that does raiding, and I do enjoy it. And I enjoy the bosses and the working as a team and the community effort, to get to where you want to be. That I love. And I've got flying now, so I'm a bit happy.
That's good. Flying makes everything so much more.
Oh, yeah.
What are you least impressed with?
The fact that Holy Priest is not suitable for high-end Mythic Plus. That I know. Yeah, I don't like the fact that it's only, that sounded a bit flippant, but there's only one or two healers or tanks or DPS that are viable for the higher end of Mythic Plus. 12s, 13s upwards. I think I've healed a couple of 15s in time on a Holy Priest. Not this season, but last season, and it is hard work. And no, I don't want to be a Resto Druid because they're boring and they can't be goblins. Partly my own fault, I think. That I don't like. For a specific section of the game, you have to be one or two classes, and that I don't think is fair.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. I've heard several people complain about a bit of the class balance at the moment. So fair enough. Do you have any good tips or a good tip for the listeners regarding Battle for Azeroth? It could be something as simple as, something that you discovered that could be a lot of fun, or a way of playing, or just any tip.
I would say if you want to get good, then find out as much about your class as you can. There are a lot of good guides out there, and have a search on places like Twitch to find the person who plays your class and spec at the higher end, to learn what they do, because there's a lot of good people on Twitch that you can ask any question, and most of the people will answer you as fully and as honestly as they can.
That sounds like a really, really good tip to me. And yeah, you're right. There are so many guides out there. And a lot of, I think also now with the Discord communities, there are very good people there who are happy to teach stuff about classes.
Yes, there are idiots who may come across like, I know better than you and you're an idiot for asking that question, but keep asking. Someone there will be nice enough to answer you. Even if it really is a stupid question, someone will answer you.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, just keep at it. But that's a good tip. Okay, I'm curious, especially since you went to PreachCon. So, what has the Warcraft community meant to you?
Oh, they mean everything to me. I love my mates. I love the people who I've met. I went to Holland for a wedding last year.
Oh.
And the people that I've met, 99.9% of them have been open and honest and kind, fundamentally kind. And for people who say the kids of today or the young generation are a bunch of idiots, they're wrong. They're wrong. These people are good souls. And the Warcraft community that I've met through Preach Gaming and all the other places that I poked my little old head into, they've been lovely. They really have been lovely.
Really nice to hear. That's quite heartwarming. And I think especially, you're right with people saying that the younger generation, I think a lot of people like to moan about them and everything, but I've had my fair experiences with them and nothing really bad at all. But I guess I'm also saying that as an ex-teacher, so,
Yeah, we have that scary look occasionally, don't we? That sometimes is needed. But yeah.
Yeah, they know when not to pull shit and stuff like that. So, no, I agree with you, absolutely. Okay.
Well, there's people there who were from Australia, Russia, America, all over Europe, and it was lovely. And to come together for what initially a 2-hour show, with people from Australia for it, and Israel, and people from Russia, and the amount of hassle to get from Russia to Manchester.
I bet.
It's just, visas. How many visas do you need to walk down the street, And yeah, it was great.
Yeah, it's very impressive as well. Yeah, that's dedication, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so Stormie, we're heading towards the last question of the podcast or for the interview. It's a weird one, like I always say, it's my failed experiment question. Because I always get the question, what do you mean with this? So the question is, what is your whisper? Now, a whisper can be anything from a wish that you have for the game, story-wise, a bit of fairy crafting, things that you want to maybe see come back in the game or see disappear forever. So if you had a whisper, what would it be?
I would like, going back to being a holy priest, I would like to be able to move while channeling some of my spells. I think you should be able to move for any spec. There should be at least one spell that you can almost put a tick next to it that you can move while channeling that spell. I think the same should be said for mages and for warlocks or any of the casters. You should be able to move while channeling a spell.
Yeah, I sometimes when I'm on my balanced druid, I get that feeling as well.
I have to stand here and die while I'm doing this.
Yeah, it's just hitting me. It's fine.
Yeah, I would like.
Okay, well, who knows? Who knows? We might hear something with BlizzCon.
Sorry.
You never know. I'm keeping it on positive thinking.
You are wishful thinking there, though, aren't you?
I try to.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Stormie, thank you so much for the interview.
You're welcome.
It was lovely talking to you. If people want to talk to you more over the interwebs, not sending any pictures that are, even at a very good angle or anything, but just,
lit ones. No. Yeah.
Just nice conversations. Where can they find you?
On Twitter, I'm at Stormieria. Storm E-R-I-A.
Perfect. And I will make sure that is also in the show notes so that people can find you. Just in case they have issues with spelling like me. You never know. But again, thank you so much for being a guest.
You are welcome. Thanks for having me.
I hope you enjoyed that interview with Stormie. It was lovely talking to her. And let's go into the next part, which is your opinions, because they are very, very important, of course. And I asked you guys how your gaming is being perceived by other people, because some of us are at a certain age now that people still look at you and go like, why on earth are you still gaming? Don't you need to do something serious? So yeah, let's see how you guys experienced all of this. So Yasemin said, I've been asked why I haven't got a real hobby. Did my boyfriend get me into it? Wouldn't I rather be doing something productive with my life? Best one was, you're too nice to play those games. What? Best solution, game more so you avoid these people. Shrug. You know what? I think that's some very, very good advice. Tom M said, yeah, some people's reaction is, are you still playing that game? Well, we've been playing it for 15 years, so why stop now? Exclavier said, for me it's knowing my audience. Some family and friends see it as a waste of time. Others that do understand and appreciate it as a hobby and passion they can relate to. For as long as it brings me joy, I shall continue to play and not worry about others' opinions. I think that is very, very wise. Hawk said, I'd say both. I have some family wondering why I'll never grow up. But then I'd have co-workers, the same age or older, who we cut up and carry on at work, talking about the game we all play together. Ali said, depends on what group of people I'm with. At work, there's a big stigma for all video games, but especially WoW, because it apparently screams nerd to them in a negative way. It could be because I'm an early childhood teacher, or it is because it's a female-dominated field. That's a shame that women still have to say stuff like that, really. If anything, I think we should all just lift each other up. Casual Elka Gorasa, I'm really sorry, I'm butchering your name. So there's a growing number of us at my office that plays WoW. It was me, then my neighbor, and now I've found around 10 to 15 people that play. Classic helped bring a number of people back into the game. Socially, I avoid mentioning WoW unless they ask what games I play. With family, I avoid the topic altogether, because I get the video games are dumb, childish mentality. I don't get that people still see video games like that. It's like reading a book, but it's much more interactive. That's my opinion. So, Lauren the Druid said, my family respects my scheduled commitments to raids and mythic pluses. And they will listen when I talk about it, but it's still just a video game to them. I will not even attempt to see it as more than that. I'd like to think that is better than many have it, but I don't know. Yeah, no, I understand that. I think, sometimes you're just so passionate about something and you want to really share it with someone, and if people nearest to you don't really understand it, it can fall kind of flat at times. So, Jerry? I'm really sorry, again, butchering names. Without a doubt, there is still a stigma for older gamers. I'm mid-40s and usually get that look when telling people I game, particularly when mentioning a WoW. Oh, people shouldn't. I hate it when people judge each other. Pete said, for WoW, not so much. For video games, absolutely. Hell, there's still a stigma for listening to video game music specifically. Yeah, no, I agree with you. There definitely is. Jesse North said, when kids find out I play video games, they get excited, and then they find out which games I play, and it's like, oh. Is that a good O or is it a bad O? Chio the Stressed, I don't hope you're too stressed, said, I originally had a stigma against it. I thought it was something that only hardcore geeks or nerds played. But once I actually played it for myself, my mom told me to try it. She's been regretting it ever since. I loved it and have never looked back. I love it that your mum got you into it. Tosh Mifun said, yeah, I am a grandfather who plays WoW and podcasts about it. Want to make something of it? Oh, I said that out loud, didn't I? Seriously though, my family and some co-workers know that I play WoW, and some even listen to the podcast and call me Toshi at work, so it's cool. That's really, and you know, if you guys have not listened to the Half Hill Report, what are you doing? You need to download that immediately after listening to this show. But yeah, that's really cool. I'm happy to hear that. Desil said, it's actually been very interesting for me. Most of my co-workers also play video games, and a lot of my family has come to terms with gaming and streaming. Since things have become more mainstream, they've been a lot more open-minded. That's good. I guess we are getting more and more views upon, you know, live streaming and gaming. I think people see it now a lot more, and you know, there are actually esports about it. So maybe, I'm hoping that maybe in another 15 years the view will completely be changed. We'll see. We'll get a whole new generation, so we'll see about that. DK Rice said, I counter said stigmas by introducing myself as the biggest nerd they'll ever meet. A nerd that can still bench 200 pounds, squat 350 pounds, and walk 13 miles twice a day with my 11-hour shift at a factory in between. Confidence, my friends, is how you defeat stigmas. That's really a good one. That's a good one. Well done. I couldn't, well, you know, I'll be happy if I can lift a pack of butter, really. That's how my muscles are. Nafi said, yeah, lol, lots of stories. Mum still doesn't get it. Aunt thinks it's the devil. Co-workers don't play the fantasy genre, and I hear all the time, wow, you still play that? Sometimes it'd be easier to hide it, but I don't like hiding an important part of me. Very true. You know, I think you can see it sometimes when people wear like certain shirts for the thing that they really love, like their game, or why should that be any different than supporting like a football team or a soccer team or a rugby team? You know, why do you have to feel ashamed or uncomfortable for the fact that you have like a gaming hoodie or something? I've been there, that I was really happy with the hoodie, and then you go out in public and you're like, oh, are people looking at me weird or something? Do they think I'm a massive nerd? Which there's nothing wrong with. Well, I'm just like, are people going to treat me different now? I don't know. So yeah, I think we've all been there. Ginny said, there's still a stigma attached to video games, especially if you come from an old school immigrant background. My mom still thinks it's the devil, and her siblings don't get it. I don't really care about gaining their approval, so I try to avoid the Satanic Panic crowd. I love that name, Satanic Panic crowd. I might have to use that at a certain point, but yeah, I think you're right. I think I've seen it with friends that immigrant families sometimes get that. Not all of them, but you can get it with all kinds of families, trust me. My mum still doesn't get it. She's happy for what I do, but she does not understand what I'm doing. And Ben Jack Shaw said, at 36, people say to me, are you not too old to still be playing games? I say, it's a hobby, raiding a few nights per week, just like some people like playing football or fishing. They respond with, well, it's not a real hobby though. I then asked them, are they the hobby police? I then asked why it's okay for them to sit in front of a screen and watch TV for hours, but not for me with games. Fair point. Very fair point. I think it's difficult, isn't it? It's just so odd with how people could respond to things, and how all of a sudden gaming is being perceived as something childish, but yet watching TV is fine. I don't understand what that's all about. So we'll see, guys. We'll see if in several years we can break this stigma, and with the new generation we'll all be fine and we'll be the cool people in the retirement home. I don't know. We'll see. We can only see what the future brings. Anyhow, thank you again for your opinions. You can always find the question of the week on Twitter. I mostly post it there. Just go to Twitter at whispers_of_war. And I'm very late with questions most of the time, so you'll see them in the weekend. I should really post it now for this week, but yeah, planning is not my strongest point. Okay, so let's go to this little mini series of how to get into RP. I'll break it down in sort of segments with the next part, which is all about how to RP. Right, you need to choose a starting point first, right? So, what kind of class are you going with? Again, this does not mean you have to play that class, but say that you want to become you want to play a rogue, then you need to start thinking, well, is that the kind of person I want to be? Because, you know, there is a bit of an archetype for a rogue, so you could be a bit of a scoundrel. Think of Flynn, you know, from Warcraft, or are you a bit like Valera? Those kind of things, like an assassin kind of type, or Garona. There's always something that would pigeonhole you a little bit into that class when it comes to your character's personality. Mages, for instance. Mages, Khadgar, Medivh, Jaina. They're all like magi who are into books, studying calm most of the time. We're not talking about Jaina's episode, but calm most of the time. So it's another pigeonhole, you know what I mean? Now, you don't have to, of course, stick with this. You can be a very brainy rogue. If that's something that you want to do, you're someone who just loves reading and learning new things and learning about maybe even arcane or dark magic, that there's no right or wrong with that. It's just making certain things easier for you. Also, because of the class that you play, you might have certain abilities to you. For instance, like the rogue. Let's just stick with the rogue. You can vanish, and that could be part of your RP. So I would also have a look into what can I do with this class that might actually enhance my RP. What sort of stories do I want to tell with it? I had a mage who I would say, because she was a mage, I would say that she went into frost magic, because fire was not her strongest point, and she always burned her hair or her robe. She wasn't very, very good at it. So those are things that you can play with. So that's what you go for if you just take the normal class. Now we get to a little bit of a advanced point, which is like building up upon your class. So you have some creative freedom with this. So again, with this kind of class that you're creating, I would still base it on a class that is very close to it, just to make it easier for you and to have access to certain spells or abilities, really. For instance, you could be, instead of just a normal mage, you could be a war mage. So that's a bit of a combination between a warrior and a mage. So they could melee, they could spellcast, but again, it's difficult to actually show something that you're doing if you're not like a mage. I'm just saying, you know, try to make it yourself a bit easier. But again, you don't have to be a mage, you can be a war mage. Or maybe instead of a warlock, you could be a necromancer. I think Death Knights come close to that with the raising of the dead. But I'm sure that the warlock could deal the same kind of spells as a necromancer. But, you know, instead of saying, oh, I'm a warlock, you could say I'm a necromancer. There are things like, we've seen this in game before, you know, people have had different titles. I mean, Voltune was a shadow hunter, so why would there not be another shadow hunter in the game, or other shadow hunters even? We know that there are witch doctors with the trolls, so have witch doctors. What about a techno mage? Because we have tinkerers, and you know, why not use something with that while also using magic? Everything's possible nowadays. Maybe a spirit walker or something like that. You see that with the Tauren a lot. And yeah, I mean, back in the day, and this was really bad, my my backstory was that my druid never went into feral because she couldn't really handle that, because her father was a druid who loved his feral side, but was too much influenced by Felwood, and he got corrupted and became a fel druid. not feral, but fell druid, which, yeah, I'm taking it very liberal there, and I was 15 years ago. I don't think I would play it again, but that's also something that you could do. You could also limit your character, even with that class, that you would, for instance, never go feral or beast mastery. Maybe you don't want pets anymore because something has happened in the past. You can make so much happen with your class. Another thing that we're going to talk about next week is races, because believe it or not, and I think people have heard me talk about this before, you can, instead of changing your class, you could also do that with your race. Now, I will give a little bit of a warning. There is a little bit of like eyebrow raising and frowning going on at the same time. So yeah, we'll talk about that next week. So that's it. That's my rambling for this week. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. And I hope that you're taking some of this, like, again, this is my point of view of RP. Nothing is right or wrong. If you're happy with how you're RPing, hey, jog on and be happy. I'm happy with that. Rejoice, but don't feel like you have to RP a certain way. This is really for people who want a little bit of guidance. Do with it as you want. If you go like, oh, still you're just spouting nonsense, hey, fair enough, because I probably am. So that's it for my RP for this week, and let's go to where you can find everything. And there's some new stuff, so listen to the end, really, because you guys need to join. You can find the show, of course, on the internet. Go to whispersofwar.podbean.com, where the other shows are. Leave a like or follow or comment. I really appreciate it. And you can find me on Twitter at whispers_of_war. My personal one is at McMonkeys with a Z. And I think you should totally join us. And with us, I mean the Dragon Powered Studio team and listeners on Discord. So if you go to dragonpoweredstudio.com/Discord, then join us and say hello. And I'm posting now and again into my Discord section with ideas and things. So if you want to, have a voice, do it there. You can also email me, whispersofwarpodcast@gmail.com. I'm trying to not blow away the cobwebs just yet. twitch.tv/monkeys with 2 Zs. And that's it. Have a wonderful time in Azeroth, guys. And I hope that you're appreciating the new segments. If you want to see me change something, you can always put it forward and we'll see what we can do. I'll have a think about it. But yeah, have a great time in Azeroth, and I will hear from you all next week. Bye-bye.
This show is brought to you by Dragon Powered Studio. Find more at dragonpoweredstudio.com.